have one eye on what you're saying about the position, one eye on the chat where I'm reading there's been more drama in Toronto as apparently Alireza's dad has just been escorted out of the playing hall. I can imagine that this was about yesterday's incident. Today, I mean, Hammer, you were busy on Twitter a few days ago fighting the eval bar. But today I decided, okay, I've been chilling for 10 days, time to get involved with a bit of my own take and spent a few hours on Twitter, you know, sharing my opinion, fighting my corner. I thankfully, for me, I feel like my take didn't ruffle as many feathers. Like, I really think that somebody put it up.
You need to present what has happened and what your opinion is.
You are correct. So what happened yesterday, if you missed it, Alireza tweeted after his game that the arbiter's behavior was shameful, that he came up to him during the game, asking him to, you know, I think Alireza said that he asked him to not get up, which isn't exactly what happened according to the arbiter. So if you missed the story, what you need to do is you need to, one, check out Alireza's tweets from after the game last night, and then two, check out my client's interview for chess.com with the main arbiter. So then you get both sides of the story. And my take, basically the arbiter told Alireza to either walk around more while making less noise. He gave him two suggestions, according to him. I can't remember the exact wording. And Alireza, of course, is making the argument, you cannot disturb me during the game while I'm playing. And my take is that I think and also what happened is one of the players complained. I don't know if the arbiter should have named him, but I think that part is kind of irrelevant. It is Nisha Nabazov, who we're looking at right now. He complained to the arbiter that there was a lot of noise disturbance from Alireza walking around. So that prompted the arbiter to talk to Alireza. And my take is, the arbiter probably was right to talk to Alireza, but I also think Alireza is right to be annoyed. Someone actually put this much more succinctly than I did. And I think both can be true, that the arbiter did the right thing and that Alireza has the right to be annoyed. And my take is that, in my opinion, it's not the arbiter versus Alireza who's right, who's wrong. I think it's FIDE's responsibility. They are the organizer of the candidates tournament. The candidates tournament is the second most important event there is after the World Championship. They are in charge of venue inspection. They are in charge of getting the venue ready. The venue, as we've heard, is it's on the small side. And it is an old building. It has wooden, creaky floors. And I think, you know, it's for FIDE. Someone said to me that, oh, I'm only complaining because it's FIDE, which doesn't make sense because I have no stake in this. I'm neither pro nor anti-FIDE. I really consider myself an outsider of this with no stake. But I think it is their responsibility. Yes, you can never foresee all issues. Somebody said it's impossible to foresee all issues, which I agree with. But I think players pacing around during their games is not exactly difficult to foresee. And some players, yes, will be more. I think Alireza is someone, you know, think of him what you will, but he is someone who is a bit head in the clouds. I don't think he's even conscious of how much noise he's making when he's walking around. Yeah, I talked myself. I went into the deep end, but I really.
I saw you getting a lot of people saying, no, but you're saying everyone behaved like they should have, except maybe the organizer, and that you're not really taking a proper stand. You got some pushback on being too diplomatic.
But I feel I got a lot of people thought it was a good take. I think I got a tiny bit of pushback, but a lot more support, because I think a lot of people don't understand how disturbing it is to have the arbiter come up to you as a player. They're like, oh, but it was early in the game, it wasn't time travel. But the problem is, not only should under normal circumstances, nobody should talk to you during a game. It is your right to play your game undisturbed. And the problem is, it's not just that somebody is talking to you, but it's early in the game, and it will stay on your game on your mind for the rest of the game. If you get up, you'll feel, you'll have to constantly think, am I being quiet enough now? I think it will also be on your mind, like, why was this brought up during the game? So I think a lot of people who chimed in on the topic just don't understand how disturbing it can be approached during a game. So
yeah, and that's why I want to go even further. I still think the Arbiter was in the wrong. I was not very impressed with how he handled this. He got a lot of positive feedback after his interview with chess.com. But the thing is, number one, he named who complained, which is probably not something you should do in general.
Yeah, there was no need.
There was no need. And that in itself shows kind of a poor appreciation of internet culture and, people, in general, or a poor attention to how much people on the internet are going to care about stuff like this and talk shit and whatnot. And there's just no need then to say who made the complaint. He even made a point out of saying that he was going to say something to Alireza himself because he had heard the sound of the shoes, which I feel like is just like, yeah, sure you were. That seems like a very convenient thing to say. And I agree with you, Fiona, in what you said about people, which in this case then includes the chief arbiter, which is not great, doesn't understand the implications of the player to be approached and to have a negative feedback during the game. So I am not one of those who changed their point of view after hearing the Arbiter. I think this could have been resolved a lot better. And I think it could have been resolved after the round. I think Abasov could have managed to deal with the noise of the shoes. And of course, I'm not there, so I don't know if it was how bad it really was. But at the end of the day, like you're saying, Fiona, that seems like there were other things the Arbiter could have done. Like, I saw someone in chat here say, no, well, the Arbiter had to talk to Alireza because there had been made a complaint. And that is just not true. There are so many ways to deal with a complaint. If you think the complaint is valid and the best course of action is talking to Alireza, then maybe sure. But if you think the complaint is valid, you could also try to resolve it without including Alireza. You could get, carpet emergency kind of, I don't know, like shops are open in America basically the whole day. You can get someone, whatever, it's on the same continent. They have these giga shops that never close anytime, and you make an emergency purchase or whatever. There's so much gray area that you can do before you start blaming the guy who's adhering to your dress code, by the way, asking for these classic, fine men's shoes instead of sneakers, which ironically wouldn't have made so much noise. So no, I gotta say I'm with Alireza on this, and part of that is because I am a bit of a contrarian. You may not have known this about me. Some of you will have guessed, I suspect. But I also just think Alireza has been treated so poorly over the years. And he's gotten so much undeserved comments about him because he has been in the center of attention for things. But during the pandemic, for instance, during Norway chess, Magnus would regularly be late for his games, and they would wait to start the game until Magnus was there for the Armageddon games. And then one time Alireza was late, they started his clock so that he lost 2 minutes on the clock because he was late to the start of the game. And there was this other incident with Magnus. So I mostly know the incidents with Magnus because I'm Norwegian. So basically everything I know about chess is because I've watched Magnus play chess. That's not even an overstatement, I think. But there was in this World Blitz Championship 1 year, Magnus actually swore in Norwegian out loud during the game because he was unhappy about a move he had made. And like people refer to that incident as Alireza making it up that Magnus was being disruptive. Like Magnus literally swore in Norwegian during the game. I don't think it really affected the result. But then Alireza got kind of hung up on that when he was later adjudicated to having lost a game where he was up like 4 pawns. Because, he thought that it would be a draw because Magnus only had a bishop left. And then there are some stupid rules that say that no, as long as you can construct a checkmate, then you do lose the game if you run out of time. I have some opinions on that, by the way. I think, Fiona, I don't know
I'm sure you do. And let's not forget the Vaikanze incident as well, where Alireza's game was moved.
But that was Alireza's fault. I agree with Alireza in some of these, but the Vaikanze...
But how was it his fault? I think it was not... It was in the rules. Maybe it was his fault that he didn't know the rules perfectly, that this was a possibility, but I do think it could have been...
Well, Alireza thought he was still playing for the playoff in the tournament. He didn't know that only 2 players could play the playoff. So the reason he was upset in Vike, one of the main reasons I feel like, is because he thought he was fighting to be a part of the playoff that the organizer wanted to have.
That part is his fault, but I still think it could have been handled.
It could have been handled better, but
yeah, I think we're getting to the same thing. I think, I've seen a lot of comments, I'm sure we both have, Alireza needs to stop being a crybaby, blah, 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 which I think is not a fair representation of what is happening. Either way, I see a lot of people are saying you are so wrong. Again, I think the Arbiter was put in a very difficult spot, and I think this is something that FIDE should have foreseen when they chose this venue. And how is there an area where the players are walking that isn't properly carpeted? Is that word, carpeted?
I accept.
So
the big question is, what is it looking like now? They got.
I really wonder as well.
They had a full day, and I bet there's no carpet there.
Someone says they are saying there is a carpet now, which makes it even more ridiculous. Because if there is a carpet now, why wasn't there a carpet in the first place? My understanding is the playing hall is not exactly huge. So how do you leave parts of it with wooden flooring when, as you say, sneakers are against the dress code? It's just ridiculous. But I think, Heather, we have covered all aspects.
I have more to say. I have more drama. I am. If you just ask me some controversial opinions, I can talk for days. And I don't care if chat thinks I'm wrong. I'm speaking my mind. And I'm
I don't think
confident.
anyone thinking you're wrong has ever stopped you or will ever stop you.
Well, we know. Maybe I'll mellow with age, but for now, I'm definitely still going strong.